Come on in to Margaret McSweeney's Kitchen for Kitchen Chat, where every week you'll meet chefs, cookbook authors, foodies, gourmets, and just plain people who love to eat. And along with laughter, chat, recipes, and stories about food, you'll sometimes also hear words of inspiration, love, and hope. As Margaret always says, Kitchen Chat is food for the senses and food for the soul. So grab a cup of coffee, put your feet up on a comfy chair, and get ready to spend a little time with Margaret and her friends.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kitchen Chat. This is your host, Margaret McSweeney, and I am so delighted that you are joining me in my kitchen today. We have just a wonderful guest. I cannot wait for you to meet Chef Brandon Baltzley, known in the culinary circles as the Salvador Dali of cooking. And he has a book that has just come out called 9 Lives, A Chef's Journey from Chaos to Control. It's about food, addiction, and redemption in the kitchen. So it's a cautionary tale, but with, fortunately, a happy ending. And I think, too, listeners, as you know, we all typically gather around our kitchen tables and talk about important things. And this is one that we really would need to talk about because I think it affects many of us on a personal level. That is drug addiction. Many of us know family members or friends who struggle with this, or perhaps you might be struggling with this. And I'm just so glad that Chef Brandon is reminding everyone that addiction is a disease. And you know, my brother, many of you may or may not know, one of my older brothers who passed away a few years ago, for most of his life, he was a drug addict, and I know the personal havoc it can wreak on lives and families. But I just want to encourage you, you can get through this, whatever the struggle is. And my brother, fortunately before his death, was able to miraculously overcome drug addiction. And I'm just so honored that Chef Brandon Baltzley is on our show today to share with us about his journey, but also, of course, we must talk about food and his great restaurant that's going to be opening and his wonderful concept called Crux, which is a culinary tour. So anyway, Chef Brandon, welcome to Kitchen Chat.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it just truly is an honor, and congratulations on getting through drug addiction. It just sounds like it was a journey of despair. And to put things in perspective, you were like one of the top chefs and sous chefs at all these nationally acclaimed James Beard Award-winning restaurants. And unfortunately, just the drugs got a hold of you. When did this start?
I think it really all started probably when I moved to Savannah for the first time, around the age of 19. And I had started, working in some kitchens there, and that's pretty much when, I got introduced to drugs that weren't marijuana or alcohol or things. That's when I started seeing more coke use in the kitchens and a lot of people doing pills and things like that, kind of just like get through the day.
Right. And, and I guess part of it, and I understand that, in a lot of the kitchens, because of the stress, because of the crazy time schedule and everything, that there is a lot of drug use that can occur in restaurants. I mean, just the pressure, the constant pressure to perform.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of places, there's not really any tolerance for messing anything up, and you mess something up, everything's usually going to count. Like a lot of times, take for instance Alinea, when you're working there, you're going to do 80 people, so you have 80 things
right
prepped out for a lot of your dishes would have 20 plus components, so you had to have 80 of each one, and you knew what would happen if you messed up one thing. So it's a constant pressure to show up in good spirits, ready to work hard, and for a very long, long time. A short day is 12 hours. So.
Wow. Oh, that is huge, and it's interesting because my niece, one of my nieces, her husband is the drummer of the band Lucky Boys Confusion, and his guitar player passed away last year after battling addiction to heroin. And it's just, it's just so sad when someone can be on the top of their talent, but they succumb to this disease of drug addiction. And unfortunately for many people, it doesn't have a happy ending. But you truly found redemption in the kitchen and have the discipline to go through an effective rehab that really helped. Can you tell us specifically how did rehab intervene? I mean, or were there other people in your life that held an intervention? How did you get to the point where you are now, which is at a good place?
I mean, I think that, I successfully completed one rehab out of the three that I went to throughout different times. For me, rehab never really did the trick. And I pretty much when I decided to get clean and sober about 2 years ago when I was when everything happened down at Tribute, I went into rehab, it didn't work. I came out a couple days later, and I just started going to meetings, and there's I had a lot of people around me that wanted to see me do well. Mm-hmm. So I had good influences and things like that, and it pretty much got me through the entire rest of my time in Chicago.
Oh, that's good. So I guess if we're sitting around the kitchen table here with family and friends, and as a former, drug addict, what advice would you give to another family and friends about how it best, and I know each situation is unique and individual, but is there, what can others do, to help in a positive way? What seems to have the most impact?
I mean, personally, I think that, if you got to let people do what they're going to do, and this is the way I think about it, and that is, when it gets bad enough, there's not really much of another choice other than to change the way you live your life. And I know a lot of people don't want to sit by and watch people do things, but, what I've found is that if you're not really ready to change the way you're living your life, having a bunch of people come to you and tell you should go to rehab or you should go do this and you should go do that usually steers people in the opposite direction.
Okay.
I think, that's just from my personal experience with people that I've known. I mean, when you're ready to stop doing whatever it is you want to do, you have to be the one making that decision.
That makes sense. And do you feel like, since you have such a passion for cooking and that talent too, do you think kind of that passion was the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of you wanted to get back into the kitchen in a successful way?
I think, I definitely had a goal at the end. I knew what I wanted to do. I think that's really important, knowing where you want to end up. And I think that was definitely something that was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this for real, especially now that I'm getting the attention from people, that I should probably, fix my personal life.
Yes. And so what is your goal? I mean, what in terms of this book? And everyone pick up a copy. I'm going to definitely provide a link on this podcast, but it's called 9 Lives, A Chef's Journey from Chaos to Control. What is your heartfelt hope that this book will convey to readers?
I think people, as they read it, there's a little bit of surprise in it. I think people, when you start reading it, you don't really realize how it's going to end until, at the very, very end. And I think that kind of surprises some people. What I want people to take away from it is that there's alternative ways to get to your goals. I wanted this book to be, for the kids that dropped out of school and never went to college and is washing dishes at a McDonald's, because that's pretty much the path that I went, and I was still able to come out on the top at the end. And I think a lot of people give up at a certain point and blame a lot of their past for the reason that they can't do anything presently. And I really wanted to show that that's not the case.
Wow, that is a powerful message and one of hope, and that there can be redemption in the kitchen. And speaking of the kitchen, goodness, we've got a lot to cover. But one thing is, and I don't know if your book has played any influence on this, but I just heard. Goodness, it was announced last week that there's going to be a new feature movie called Chef, and it's starring Bradley Cooper, and it's about a chef who had a drug addiction in Paris. So
I did see that. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yes. I think Bradley Cooper should be calling you for a consultation there. And
yeah, I think you should at least go buy my book, right, and read it, see what it's really like.
I agree. And what was really interesting, Chef Brandon, is that the promo photo that I saw was Bradley Cooper holding this big fish. And, of course, the cover of your book is you staring, and holding a fish as well. So that was ironic, too. But I do have a question. What kind of fish are you holding on the cover of your book? And is there any symbolic interpretation?
Absolutely, there is. There really is. It's funny that you're the first person to ask me that, actually. Oh. After all these interviews for the past, month, you're the first person to ask. So it's a red snapper, and if you read the book, there's a part that kind of flashes back to me going on fishing trips with my grandmother and my mother, and that's what we actually used to fish for.
Oh, that's great. And would you have a special dish with red snapper that you prepare with your mom and grandma?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a pop-up tonight here. I'm in the kitchen. This whole interview, I've been cooking and preparing for it.
Wow.
I'm doing a Minorcan fish stew or fish chowder, which is something very, very, very specifically regional to St. Augustine, Florida, and it's red snapper, and I'm cooking tomatoes right now in a fireplace over wood, and it gets that, some shellfish, red snapper, the fish stock from the bones from the snapper, and that's about it. It's a really, 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 really simple peasant food type dish that we're going to do for one of the courses tonight.
Wow. And you know what? How is, and I've never cooked fish that hasn't been filleted. As my listeners know, I am the worst cook. And it's ironic, yes, I'm interviewing wonderful chefs such as yourself. But for those who do like to cook fish, is there an easy way to debone the fish? Do you have a surefire method of doing that?
It really depends on the fish, first off. The flat fish and round fish are totally different. There's only one way in my eyes to fillet a fish, and that's the way that, you learn kind of in classical French cooking school or whatever. I mean, it's straight down the back. You follow the spine with the knife, and you go all the way through the tail, and then when you come around the other side, what the people have to understand is that they're going through two sets of bones. So the spine is all the way down, and that's what you use to guide your knife. The rib cage comes out and it curves, so you have to cut around that. And then I usually cut through all the pin bones and just pull them out with tweezers.
Oh, okay. So have the tweezers on hand in the kitchen.
Absolutely, yeah.
When you're filleting. But okay, so the picture of you holding the fish on the front cover of your book, 9 Lives, The Chef's Journey from Chaos to Control, is a red snapper. And I love the symbolism now and can appreciate that. And before we start talking about this wonderful culinary concept you've been bringing across the nation through Crux and your new restaurant opening, I have some questions from some listeners that have come my way. They wanted me to be sure to ask you. It mentioned one listener asked that she said, some of your pairings are interesting and odd. Chocolate with olives, eggs and banana, peas and mint. What makes you put them together?
I think, it's usually kind of a singular feeling for me when I taste something. I can tell you exactly what happened with the chocolate and olives was I was just eating Spanish green olives, like manzanilla olives, and they tasted like chocolate to me for some reason that day. I don't know if what I had eaten with them or anything, but for some reason the oil reminded me of cocoa butter. So I just on a whim made a dessert out of it, and it worked.
Wow! With olives, I just can't even.
It really, really works. But it's only that one type of olive. It's not. You can't go chocolate and black olives or calamatas or anything like that. It's the manzanilla Spanish olives, and they just taste really good with chocolate. It's a weird, bitter, sweet thing, and I use it as a dessert. I make sorbet out of the olive pits.
Wow.
And then basically use all the flesh to make a puree with, and sometimes I'll do a chocolate cake, or sometimes I'll do cocoa nibs, or sometimes if it's all ice and it's all things that are going to melt, I'll do chocolate bread so they can dunk it in it. It just depends. The egg and banana thing was due to we were doing a Chicagoan artist-themed dinner. So you had to be considered basically an artist and from Chicago or currently living and working in Chicago. And one of the dishes was for Dave Eggers, the writer.
Yes.
So the dish was egg. So we did a whole bunch of different textures of egg, or different, we did trout roe, we did boiled egg, we did cured tuna roe, and then we made a banana leather, mostly for the texture and the sweetness would cut through all the salt from all the roes.
Wow. Oh, that is great. Oh, I love that. And it's so ironic because Dave Eggers, I think he's the one with the Timothy McSweeney, is that right? That little publication. And it's funny because my Twitter name is @McSweeney, and I get these really funny articles.
Right, McSweeney's, yeah.
So I would love to chat with Dave Eggers sometime. That would be a fun thing, from one McSweeney to another. Oh, that's great. And it was another listener had written in saying that they were very curious about your tobacco pudding infused with cigar leaves, and asked what inspired you to create this, and how did your clientele like it?
I always wanted to do a dish with tobacco because, I saw Grand Atkins had done it when I was a little younger, and I said, that's cool, it seems like it could work. And then it kind of just reminded me of my grandfather. My grandfather grew up in Warsaw, North Carolina. He grew up on a tobacco farm. So I kind of basically gained, for the better word, the technique from Ackett's and just kind of played with it as a flavor profile, where I kind of just turned it in kind of like after dinner dessert thing. So we had scotch and cigar basically. So it was we made like a scotch caramel, and then we made a tobacco panna cotta. Tobacco panna cotta is good. It's not what I think people would think because it tastes like tobacco. It doesn't taste like smoke,
Oh, okay, but you can't do a flambe on a tobacco pudding.
No, yeah. So it's spicy. It's spicy and sweet, and it has a lot of different characteristics to it. Every now and then, people, that aren't used to it, you get a tickle in your throat almost when you eat it.
Wow.
Like you're smoking a cigar. It's a little strange. I quit doing it just because I haven't had the need to do it. I usually do it more in the winter time.
Okay.
It's not really a summery thing. So.
And I guess maybe some baseball players would like that because they're used to chewing tobacco. So that would be a great one. Well, I just can't wait to hear about Crux, which is your concept to bring the co-op collective business model to the different food scenes. Can you tell us a little bit about Crux and how this began, and a little bit about the tour ahead across the nation?
It basically began as kind of like give me the best way to say it. I get my middle finger to the way to my bosses in Chicago at the time.
Oh, okay.
to like the restaurant owners and the people that, you know, like, it's just kind of basically to the negative parts of Chicago that were in my life at the time. I said, we don't need any of this. We don't need a space. We don't need anything. We don't need money. I'll figure it out. We know how to cook. We can get into spaces. So me and my friends just started doing these dinners, these pop-up dinners, and we kind of put it under the name Crux. And since then, it's kind of taken a totally different turn to where it started as like me and these three other people, and we were all, you know, kind of co-chef type things, and they all ended up freaking out, and it all ended up kind of like going and doing other things. So I just kept it going, but instead of just doing it in Chicago, I started to travel with it and work with chefs in other cities. And ever since, you know, we've kind of, it's borderline propaganda what we're doing with our logos and everything. And like, we don't even write Crux on menus or anything really anymore. We just show our logo, our U, and people know that it's a collaborative dinner that's coming. We have 30 cities booked over the next 2.5 months. I'm actually leaving this Wednesday to go on tour with it. I'm setting off from Chicago to Miami, and obviously there are a lot of places in between these, but Miami to LA to Vancouver to Montreal and back down through. We're pretty much hitting every city that's in between those.
That is fascinating. And are things already preset with the chefs that will collaborate with you in these cities, or is it just kind of a, you know, last minute type of thing? And how can people, you know, foodies in those different states join in on the fun and actually come and have the dinner?
Well, so, you know, some of them, like, yeah, some of them are planned out ahead of time. You know, right now we only have the first 3 dinners planned.
Oh, okay, great.
So it's in Miami and Atlanta, where we're actually working on mini development. We've released ways to buy tickets, things like that.
Okay.
And, you know, you can't really write 30 menus in one day with 30 different chefs. So we're kind of staggering it out. So when I get to Atlanta, we'll start working on New Orleans and Houston and LA, things like that, and because it's all staggered, you know. I'm doing this all by car. I'm driving everywhere.
Wow.
So it's going to take a long time. We're going to be out on the road for 2.5 months.
And you will really see the country with that, too. That is so much fun, and tasting the different, you know, just the different foods of the different locales. That should be a blast. And I know you already have a wonderful blog on your BrandonBaltzley.com, and listeners, I will definitely have a link to that. And it's fascinating to read your blog, so hopefully you'll be sharing more on your blog about your travel for the dinners and everything. So
yeah, we'll definitely be keeping people posted as to what we're doing.
Oh wow! You know, with someone such as you, who you cook such exotic combinations and using you know, like beef shoulder and duck and all these other exotic types of foods. What is your comfort food? Is it one of the exotic dishes that you make, or is it just something really simple?
Oh, man, fried chicken.
Oh, yes.
It's fried chicken. I like soup. I like, I do not eat like I cook. I rarely ever do. I never eat like I cook.
Wow.
that's I do when I'm cooking it, when I'm tasting it, and when I'm trying to dish. And I do eat like that when I go out to eat. But when I'm at home, it's fried chicken or roast chicken or braised pork butt or things like that. One pot meals.
Oh, I love it. In fact, I grew up in Alabama, so I'm right there with you on fried chicken, and I've been trying to find a good place with fried okra in the Chicagoland area. So I don't know if you have any
I don't know about fried okra
on your fried chicken. And where would you recommend outside of your own kitchen that has the best fried chicken around?
Oh, in the Midwest?
Yeah.
Probably around here it'd have to be like Harold's or something, but I really like Union Pig and Chicken in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
It's really, 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 really good. But then if you're going to make a drive, you might as well just go down to Tennessee and eat fried chicken in Memphis, get hot chicken or something.
And the barbecue down there
exactly.
and all that.
Illinois has got good barbecue and good stuff like that. It's just, those are the things you have to go out and find. It's not like a chain or anything. You go down to the south side and that's where you find the good food.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll have to venture out more. That sounds fun. But with Crux, how exciting that it's kind of a pop-up culinary concept where you're collectively working with other chefs and coming up with a menu at all these different locales. I mean, this sounds like it should be a reality show,
Yeah.
with people following you around.
Right. The second half of it, I'm taking a journalist who's going to write a little road trip story, I guess, if you will, about it.
Oh, fun.
So we'll see what happens with that. But, I'm going to have my phone and the computer, so we're going to test some things.
Oh, good, with the whole social media. And I think Bradley Cooper should accompany you on that trip as well.
Right.
As preparation for his chef movie. Oh, that sounds great. Now, regarding your new restaurant, TMIP, when is that opening, or has it opened in Michigan City? And if you can tell us a little bit about that concept as well.
We're going to actually moving people in on October 1st.
Great.
But we won't be open to the public for quite some time. It'll probably be March of 2014. We'll be open, we'll be doing dinners, and we'll be doing invite-only things and friends and family for a while. But, until if you want to just come in and reserve, it won't happen until March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll look for that. And what does TMIP mean? It's
the literal definition of the Latin word crux, which is the most important part.
Oh, wow. Okay, neat. Okay, so kind of you're continuing the crux concept, but in one place and with a physical building and it's on a farm. Can you tell us a little bit about this whole farm to table concept? And that seems like a bit of a switch in some of the other kind of scientific creations that you might have been working on, the Salvador Dali approach in the kitchen.
I think that there's definitely a place in the kitchen for those kinds of more sciencey techniques.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still going to have those, but I wanted to kind of reconnect and kind of show at the restaurant, show the connection between the food you're eating and where it's from. I mean, we'll be using more than 95% of all of our own stuff.
Wow.
It'll be we're going to raise our own animals, we're going to grow our own food, and if we have a bad tomato crop that year, then we don't get to use tomatoes that summer.
Wow.
It's basically like your very old school European restaurant, but done in the Midwest, and we're kind of trying to take the approach of what is American food, and American food is going to be what we can grow and what we can use and what we produce.
Fascinating. Oh, this will really be so wonderful to have something like this culinary concept on the farm. So it literally goes from the farm to the table.
Yes.
So that is going to be great. Oh, that sounds just like a great thing. So I look forward to hearing more and following that. Meanwhile, back to your book, 9 Lives, A Chef's Journey from Chaos to Control. How has the reception been from some of your former colleagues and people within the culinary community?
Everyone that I know that's read it liked it. Also, the people that I've talked to or my friends and things like that.
Yeah, good.
I don't know. There's been a couple people to come up and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you," but I think I don't know. I didn't write it for my colleagues. I wrote it for people that have issues. So I think that the reception overall, as far as my colleagues go, has been pretty good. The critical reception's been really good. Every review that we've gotten is stellar. We haven't seen a bad review yet.
Which is
I'm
great.
kind of waiting for the big guns to come out at this point.
Oh, well, the New York Journal of Books gave you a wonderful review. So so a lot of great press. And I mean, in a way, is it, I guess, your way of reaching out? Because this is all about second chances, and it's just so exciting to see the redemption that took place in the kitchen, and that you're moving forward, and you're just being a positive influence and inspiration to a lot of people who are facing those issues right now. And I just hope that, that it will be seen in such a positive light, and that you are going to succeed and soar in and out of the kitchen with all the great projects that you're working on, Chef Brandon. Truly, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm just so delighted and honored that you were with us here today on Kitchen Chat. Listeners, I'm going to leave a link for BrandonBaltzley.com so you can go there and also check out his book, 9 Lives, The Chef's Journey from Chaos to Control. And I encourage those of you who are facing addiction right now within yourself, or friends and family, that you will reach out for some help. And, sometimes it's that conversation at the kitchen table among your family and friends. And just know that you're never alone in this. And there is redemption available. And as Chef Brandon shows us through this conversation and in his book, that there can be a second chance and you can succeed. And I bet it's hard work. I mean, is it a constant battle, Chef Brandon, even now?
Oh, daily. Yeah, every day.
Wow.
It's hard every single day. I'm not, a lot of people say, it gets better. Things do get better, things in your life get better, but I mean, it's always there. I don't claim to be clean or sober anymore or anything like that. I don't really subscribe to the whole 12 steps way of or their philosophy of how to live your life, but I do definitely go through issues every day still with, it's a lot of things about just memories that you don't really get rid of, that things that you've done and things that have happened, and you kind of have to live with that. But it is really nice to not be being self-destructive and going on my mind on cocaine and things like that now.
Exactly, and I think it's so symbolic, even with your recipe. I can't remember if we were talking about the olives and how you had crushed the pit and turned it into something else, and how symbolic that, yes, the drug addiction was the pit of your life, yet you have crushed that and have, transformed that grit into such a moment of grace and delicious food as well. So everyone, I encourage you to get his new book, and I'll make sure I provide a link on the website as well. But thank you so much, Chef Brandon, for being on Kitchen Chat. It has just been a delight.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and listeners, as you go through your busy day, please just take a moment and sit down and savor the day.
Thank you for joining us today. If you're interested in Margaret's books, A Mother's Heart Knows, Pearl Girls, Encountering Grit, Experiencing Grace, and Go Back and Be Happy, please just click on the covers on the webtalkradio.net page in front of you. Margaret would love to connect with you and hear from you, so join her on Twitter, Facebook, her blog, or click on this website to leave a note and share a recipe. Thank you again, and we'll see you here again for a new show next week.